From the classic car-airplane hybrid to one that kind of looks like a flying saucer, here are 10 of the most unusual flying vehicles that will change the world. Number 10. Aeromobile's prototype flying car. Slovakia-based Aeromobile has been at the forefront of developing flying cars, and it seems that they haven't wavered on that commitment the slightest bit. They've already had 4 prototypes. That's how serious they are at releasing a functioning flying car that it calls a supercar with superpowers. The company has plenty of concept art to show the car in its final form, including the one you're seeing right now. This is one of the more notable hybrid models in the works, and no, it's not that kind of hybrid. Let me explain. This car isn't designed to be a VTOL, or a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, but it rather requires a runway to take off, like a regular plane, but can land vertically. It also has the ability to morph into a car to drive on city streets. This system requires retractable wheels and wings, along with a very efficient drivetrain, both of which are currently in development. Number 9. Airbus Vahana. Airbus. You know, that company that makes all those giant planes? It turns out to be very interested in the whole flying car business as well. In fact, they have their own project in the works. And although it's no flying car, it should forever change how we commute. They launched Project Vahana, which seeks to create an electric VTOL aircraft that is entirely self-piloted. Yep, no unpleasant Uber drivers on this one. Software engineers already have plenty of experience creating autopilot systems for larger planes that can be applied to these VTOLs. It's also an ideal way to run a taxi service since the vehicles automatically return to their garages for maintenance or pick up new passengers based on the orders it receives. Also, no need to hire new taxi drivers, or in this case, pilots. In early 2018, the Vahana prototype had its first successful full-scale flight test. Nothing too flashy, the 20-foot aircraft simply rose 16 feet into the air and stayed there for 53 seconds. However, it did this entirely on autopilot. Airbus has flown about 50 test flights since and was slated for a 2020 debut, but that got pushed back. I wonder why though. Number 8. The Volocopter 2X. Take a drone, blow up its size so it can accommodate 2 people in it, and you have the Volocopter 2X. Okay, so its design and the engineering involved to make it is a bit more advanced when compared to drones, but when looking at it, you can definitely see similarities. Developed in Germany, it features 18 battery-powered rotors controlled via a single joystick. We'd say that the whole thing isn't very practical, but the firm made a full-size test model and ran it across the stage at CES 2018, thanks to a little sponsorship by Intel. It has a flight time of 30 minutes and a range of 17 miles before it needs charging. Not at all practical at this stage, but hey, it is still a prototype. Intel loaded this VTOL with loads of tech, including 4 independent sensor units to control positioning, 9 different electrical battery packs with built-in redundancies, and even a parachute stowed on top of the vehicle in case something goes wrong. These are the reasons why Dubai picked it for its upcoming air taxi fleet. Number 7. The Moog Surefly. The Moog Surefly was designed to be the pickup truck of the VTOL world. It was built to be extremely robust and is aimed at commercial operators and consumers looking for a durable, self-controlled flying experience. It was developed by Workhorse, but the company sold its aviation division to Moog for $4 million in November 2019 after multi-million-dollar losses. The vehicle has 8 propellers which push it to the top speed of 75 miles per hour. And unlike the other VTOLs in this list, it's gasoline-powered, although it does have a backup battery that will provide an extra 10 minutes of flight time just in case of an emergency. The first version could carry up to 400 pounds of cargo, but a future, more heavy-duty version should be able to manage up to 650 pounds. They are also very easy to operate and requires only 2 controls, a joystick to control direction and a throttle control located on the pilot's door. The US military is currently showing much interest in the Surefly. Number 6. The Terrafugia Transition. The Terrafugia Transition is a true hybrid vehicle in many ways. First, it was designed to be at home in the skies as well as on city streets. And second, it is powered by a gasoline-electric hybrid drivetrain that features a boost mode for an extra burst of speed when flying. This thing has retractable wings and wheels, a design that actually reminds me of the Aerocar back in its day, although its wings were detachable rather than retractable. It was set to be originally sold for $280,000 each, but that's quite unsure now. Geely, the company that now owns Terrafugia, isn't releasing an updated updated price list. In fact, it's unsure whether the project is still ongoing at all. Right now, owning a transition is a little bit like a pipe dream. But keep in mind that Geely, a Chinese firm whose growing portfolio of brands includes Volvo, Lotus, Polestar, the London taxi company, a roughly 10% stake in Mercedes-Benz parent company Daimler, and half of the smart car brand, has very deep pockets. If anyone has pockets deep enough to build a flying car, it's definitely Geely. Number 5. Joby Aviation Air Taxi. This next entry might just be the most practical VTOL on this list. It also might be the first one to be used commercially. After spending years working on a personal aircraft, Joby Aviation suddenly found itself with a whole lot of spending money when investors like Toyota and Intel funded the company with $100 million to create an electric air taxi fleet. The resulting VTOL aircraft that they developed boasts of a range of 150 miles and a top speed of 200 miles per hour in a single charge. It can accommodate 5 people and is powered by 6 electric motors. The exciting thing is, we might just be seeing these air taxis zooming around city skylines sometime soon. In December 2020, Joby announced its acquiring of Uber Elevate, the ride-sharing giant's flying taxi unit. Number 4. Jaunt Aviation's Helicopter Airplane Hybrid. Helicopters are excellent vehicles used for getting from place to place within the city and avoiding rush hour traffic. They do have one major drawback though. They are extremely noisy. Well, newcomer Jaunt Aviation has decided to address that loud problem. They partnered with the Triumph Group to develop a flying taxi that looks something like a cross between an airplane and a helicopter. Using proprietary technology, the aircraft reduces the speed of its main rotor while flying to remain relatively quiet. Jaunt Aviation may not be a household name today, but they are taking the right steps in order for them to be one in the future. It has forged partnerships with some of the biggest companies in the business. Aviation Today reported that Honeywell will provide a navigation software, flight control technology, and an electric propulsion system, among other pieces of the puzzle. Number 3. The Rolls-Royce prototype. We all know that Rolls-Royce is a purveyor of luxury automobiles, but what you might not know is that they have an aeronautics division and has been in operation since World War I. Today, they've moved on from simply designing airplane engines though. They want to dip their toes into the future air taxi craze. The company released their concept design for their very own VTOL back in 2018. The concept craft is capable of carrying people, cargo, or both, with an impressive range of over 500 miles. The craft uses electric motors powered by gas turbines that gives the vehicle a top speed of 250 miles per hour. As exciting as this may sound, it should still take a while before we see a working prototype. A year after they released the concept, they teamed up with Bell to combine the car company's expertise with Bell's VTOL technology to develop vertical takeoff passenger vehicle, something that looks very similar. Learn more about it next. Number 2. The EHang 184. The EHang 184 is a personal quadcopter VTOL that was fully automated, totally safe, completely affordable, and powered via basic touchscreen interface that anyone can use. And when it first showed up at CES, many immediately doubted whether something like it can even be made. Frankly, there isn't much detail about the development of the 184, but manufacturer EHang is still making some pretty crazy claims. For example, the company claims that it has tested its model more than 1,000 times in all types of situations, which include flying in gale force winds and loading it with 500 pounds of extra weight, which to me just sounds ridiculous. Not only that, the only test footage available is decidedly more pedestrian. Despite all the crazy claims, there is reason to believe that the EHang 184 will grace city skylines in the future. EHang has specified that each taxi will have a command center that will automatically ground the flying car in poor weather conditions, and that the models are primarily designed to fly in basic shapes from one port to another, which sounds more in line with what other prototypes are capable of. Number 1. The Opener Blackfly. If you want to see something truly unusual, here's Canadian company Opener's Blackfly. The aircraft kind of looks like 2 boat hulls, one forming the bottom, the other inverted to form the top, with a bubble canopy in the middle for the single person Blackfly carries. Attached to the shell are 2 wings, one in front and the other at the rear, each holding 4 electrically powered propellers. Aside from looking extremely weird, this VTOL comes loaded with features that should make life easier for its pilot. The aircraft's computers can tilt the wings straight ahead, vertically, or anywhere in between, allowing Blackfly to operate like a traditional aircraft or helicopter. It also has auto landing and automated return home functions, thus enabling flight without the need for formal licensing. Surprisingly, Blackfly uses no wheels underneath. It simply touches down on the keel of the hull and lists to one side or the other until the winglet at the very tip of the airfoil settles to the ground. Geez, how much would it have cost to put on a couple of legs? Anyway, the company expects to fly out 25 of these single-seater vehicles by the end of 2021. Which of these flying vehicles would you personally want to own? Let us know down in the comments below. Also, make sure to hit subscribe as well as the notification bell. That way, you'll get notified every time we upload new and amazing content just like this. Again, thanks for watching and see you on the next video.